So when we were out at JTAC Ranch for the Quantified Performance Florida Man match, we didn't do so well. And I knew that when I got an opportunity to get back out there, I needed to redeem myself because it just was not the best match, not the best showing that I had. But while we were out there, we talked to Eric from Barrel and Hatchet and Ben from Wiseman Company, and they were telling us that Barrel and Hatchet was going to be putting on their own gas gun match out there, and they invited us out. So immediately we knew we were going to sign up for that one. So unfortunately, we couldn't do the next Quantified Performance, which was a couple weeks ago. They had Florida Man Part 2, which I heard was phenomenal. Didn't get to take part in that, but we knew we were coming out for the gas gun match. So we went out there with the goal in mind of doing much better than we did last time. And so without too much talking, we'll get into this. I'll give you analysis of stages so you can skip through stage by stage, and then I'll give you an overall at the end and kind of what I'm going to be working on going forward in the future. Actually, really quick, before we dive into these videos, I need to apologize. The trigger cam was out of focus. Sorry, it won't happen again. I've had a little note on there, fix focus before we film again. I apologize, but I still felt like there was enough that you could see that it would still be valuable for you guys to see, especially like what the reticle is doing. You can kind of see where the splash is going, so you'll still be able to see some of that. It's just out of focus. I apologize. Yeah, let's get into it. So we start off at stage 6. Now going in, felt pretty good, pretty confident. One thing I don't like here is how much I'm leaning forward into the barricade. That's just a me thing. This next position is a little high, so you see I'm on my tippy toes. So not the best for me, is a little slow getting into that position and getting on target. And then right here, just a little inefficient getting into that next position. Now this is where I struggle because this spool rolls. Now we haven't seen a lot of spools in matches this year, so this was different for me, that the way I was using the barricade caused it to move, and I had to adjust on the fly, and it slowed me down a little bit. So I could have picked up, you know, probably 4 or 5 seconds here, which would have bumped me up, but maybe even more than that, maybe closer to 10. But wasn't bad, not a bad start to the day. Started off pretty well. Going into this stage, this is the furthest stage of the day. We're shooting out to 800 yards. I don't remember exact distances. I want to say here we're like 500 to 600, and then the next target will be 800. The issue at this stage is if you look at that flag behind me, that primary arms flag, it's swirling. So that flag is blowing left to right. The flag downrange, which is just behind this target, is blowing right to left. So the wind was kind of swirling all over the place, and we shot it during the time of day where it was windiest, and it calmed down as the day went on. And yeah, it's just one of those things, like if you got lucky and had no wind, you had a much easier go at the stage. Ben from Wiseman Company absolutely crushed the stage, shooting with a red dot magnifier out to 800. Phenomenal. Yeah, just struggling with wind here. Not really much I can do about that. It's something that I do need to clean up, something I need to work on and get better. So this is one of those things that I will work on after this match.
Come on, Jimmy.
Yeah, and so I had same wind hold that I made hits earlier, and you can see how the wind changed just from those few seconds. Yeah, so I went from holding a mil of wind to maybe like 2/10.
Hey! Nice, dude.
Yeah. Is what it is. Slowed me down. Came into this stage, you know, mental reset, wanted to do better. We're shooting a KYL rack. This is only at like 100 something yards, maybe 200 yards. I don't remember the exact distance. You had to use whatever props were in there. If I had to do this again, maybe I would have pulled the bipod out and done it that way and turned the chair sideways, but wasn't bad. That last target we're shooting is a 1-inch little gong. So not bad, not bad. Could have been better, but you could see that the reticle was bouncing up and down. So wobble zone wasn't great. This was a much better stage for me. Ended up getting a stage win here, which we'll talk more about at the end. These are all at around 315 out to 325 yards, I believe, or 330 yards. 3 targets. You have to shoot over that block of wood. There's like a little opening you got to shoot between each one of these. A lot of what I worked on at Ridgeline really came in handy here. You know, getting a good enough wobble zone. You know, sometimes good enough is good enough, and just being fast. Gas gun is fast gun. So clean that stage. Overall, very happy with that. This stage started off pretty well. Didn't end so well. So we're shooting standing at like 100-ish yards, which is a little awkward with these guns, at least for me anyways. Going to a reload, onto the table, everything's going great. And then this is where it falls off. So I was just struggling here. The problem that I have is that I'm so light on these tables that I don't weigh it down. So as I'm shooting, it's actually moving more and more. And I got frustrated rather than slowing down and just being patient like I am now. I wasted all that time. So 20 seconds there, I think I could have picked up just from that section alone if I would have just been more patient. So frustrated myself on that one, and I wish I could do that one over. But it is what it is. Coming to this stage, so one hand only. If you look at my legs, you see how that left leg is bent? It's because I'm shifting my hips rather than resetting my feet. And this is causing me to be a little unstable. And it's because I had to come into it with one arm, again here on my tippy toes. But that set me up in a bad position for the rest of the stage, because you can see I'm slightly bladed off to the right. And if you watch my reticle, it goes to the right every time I fire. So that's on me. I should have reset my feet and got squared up to the target. Would have had much better wobble zone, much better recoil management. So yeah, just poor execution here on my end. And this bag, I think I'm gonna swap out this bag, or maybe swap out the fill in it. I just haven't. It hasn't worked out great for me. Not the way I wanted it to. So may mess with some things and change that. But yeah, so getting a little more bounce out of it than I would like, and just rushing it because I know these other guys are gonna run it fast. So I feel like if I would have been a little more stable, I could have picked up some time there. About 5 to 7 seconds there I could have picked up, especially with that last position. This stage, mental error. I don't know whose leg that is. It's a great leg. You're going to see a lot of it this whole stage. These first two targets are at like 187 and then like 2 something, I believe. And they're pretty small. They're like 2 or 3 inch targets. And then we move over to this bull right here, and then we're shooting out at around 400 or 500. We were struggling to get a good distance on this. On the paper they gave us, I think it said 475 or something like that, but every time we ranged it, it was like 5, and so I don't know if any of us actually had a good yardage on that. But yeah, this just was not a good stage for me. Wobble zone is good enough. I feel like the wind call was good. They actually missed a hit call there, and I think I actually, in the process of them missing that first hit, I think I actually got a second hit. So again, more time. It is what it is. It's the nature of matches. I can't complain about that. So just got to do better next time on my end. I mean, I was just slow going through this. So there's other time I could have picked up. Yeah, mental error, should have moved up. And then there we go. Yeah, could have done better there. Could have picked up time. Here's another stage where if you look immediately, kind of like a couple stages ago, see how I'm bladed off? And I think I was having the same issue where wobble zone wasn't where I wanted it to be, and I'm fighting the gun rather than being in a good position. And then right here on this slanted spot, again, I was kind of in between positions. I should have, again, squared up to the target and just spread my legs out further and let my butt drop between so I could get low enough, rather than trying to sit in this awkward sideways position. Again, fighting it versus having and this is just all just mental error on my end. You know, this is one of the things that I will talk about more at the end, but I struggle on the mental side when the days get kind of long and, you know, we're sitting around a lot. I kind of check out and make simple mistakes. So more free time left on the table. Probably could have picked up a few seconds there. So we're on the rooftop here. I don't remember the distances of these. This one's pretty close. This hog we're shooting. And immediately I knew those were 2 good trigger presses. So I was like, dope's got to be off, because they were 2 really good trigger presses. So I immediately went for the scope caps instead of trying to just hang in there and do whatever. So this is where some of the experience has come in. Sure enough, my dope was off, and 3 shots. Boom. So mental error on my end again. Should have checked that in my pre-stage plan. Yeah. So I counted up the time that I wasted in that first shot to the end. I would have saved another 20 seconds there. So easily at least 40 seconds between two stages that I could have picked up a lot of time on. And that's, again, mental error. That's all on me. That's nobody else. And then you add in some of those other stages where I could have picked up, 3 seconds here, or 5 seconds there, or 7 seconds there, and I'm in a much better position. So I ended up taking 3rd in my division, which was general purpose, and then taking 7th overall. I did get a stage win at stage 9. Overall, it was a good match. Eric, Roy, Tyler, and even Ben from Wiseman, who I know helps there at JTAC, they have an incredible community. The community they're building there is phenomenal. I've talked a lot about how I get to visit different communities across the country, and I would say as a whole, they are the most well-rounded shooters that I've visited so far outside of Dallas. And we talked about this the other day. If there was ever a community that I feel like would rival us, like shooter-wise, like those people would be it. They are absolutely phenomenal shooters. They all train together. They're in good shape. They're squared away in pistol. They're squared away in rifle. And Ben and Eric, Wiseman and Barrel and Hatchet are doing a phenomenal job getting them squared away and continuing to build and grow that community. So super excited to see what they've got in the future. Now, specifically about the match that Barrel and Hatchet put on, this was a match that definitely challenged my weaknesses. If you guys have watched any of the previous videos, I talked about one of the things I struggle with is I just don't shoot fast when it comes to precision. And it's one of the things that I'm working on. And so a lot of we only had one stage that was out to 800. And I think it was like 600 and 800 were the targets, or 500 and 800. Everything but aside from that was like 500 and in, 400 and in. And they're pretty big targets. So where I'm used to being a little bit more methodical and getting a really tiny wobble zone on small targets, we had very generous targets, and it didn't suit me, but it pushed me to be better. It pushed me to be faster. And that's something that I needed. It's something that, again, is just revealed another thing I got to work on. So coming out of this match, the things that I really want to focus on, that I need to develop and work on, is one, just being faster, a good enough wobble zone. That's something that you'll hear a lot when you watch the Ridgeline video. When I show that, that was one of the things that they were pushing was, hey, good enough is good enough. It's all target dependent. So it's all depending on context and the goal of what you're doing. If we're shooting small targets, obviously you need a better wobble zone. If you're shooting big targets, you can go faster. Gas gun is a fast gun. So working on that, working on being faster, and not the second thing is not making the mental errors. So I really need to work on the mental side of competition, where in between stages, I'm mentally resetting and going through my checklist and doing all the right things, not making the little mistakes like being bladed off or leaning too much into a target, barricade, or, not checking my dope. All those little things I need to tweak and fix, because that's all time that I've left on the clock. So the mental side of it would be the second thing. And the third thing that I would say is probably working more on standing shooting, unsupported. That's something we did, again, we worked on this at Ridgeline, and I knew it was something I wanted to work on, but immediately came off the back of that, went to this match. But I think that's something that I need to do a little more of, is shooting standing, unsupported, and trying to find new positions like that spool. Like, that's something that we haven't shot off of a lot this year, at least not one that rolls. Things like that. So I've got to find a spot, a range that will let me shoot off of more and more props, that'll expose me to more props, so that I'm better prepared going into these matches. So those are the 3 things that I'll be working on. And of course, I'll bring you guys along in that journey. If there's something you want to see specifically during that process, during that training process or lead up, if there's something you want to know more about matches, let me know. I think somebody mentioned maybe doing a getting into shooting precision matches as far as like gas guns go. So that's something you guys are interested in, leave it in the comments down below. If there's something you guys want to see as far as like prep goes for these matches, or something that we haven't covered yet, leave it in the comments down below. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, Risky Krisky was in our squad. This was his first rifle match. So go check out the video on his channel. I'll link it up here. You can go check it out and see his takeaways and what he learned out there. Some good information in there. So it was cool to see other gun tubers out there shooting matches. And so awesome meeting Risky and getting to pick his brain a little bit and chat while we were out there for the weekend. Thank you guys for following along. Make sure you like and subscribe. Karate chop that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Also, thanks again to Eric and the whole Barrel and Hatchet crew and the whole JTAC crew. They are always welcoming us with open arms and very appreciative of all that they do and for having us out. We did do some night vision stuff, but I didn't get to film it. And then, yeah, if you're in the Tampa area, go to Santoro's. Good pizza. Went there, got recommended by our bartender we go see. Yeah, great pizza for not a bad price.